Tales America, and they have their free phone numbers.
Good morning. Welcome to the session, this workshop, on all about remote accessing your PC. Our facilitator is David Bain. Thank you very much. Thank you, David.
Have you ever been anywhere and suddenly realised you've left a file back in the office?
Yeah.
Or have you ever wanted to talk to somebody about something, but you're trying to explain quite a complicated concept and they haven't got a clue what you're talking about? Usually it's my wife about my diary. So we're going to look at some tools for remote access. And you know nowadays if you ring up BT or whatever and say, I've got this problem, they say, oh, go to this website, put in this code, and they come in and take over your computer, don't they? Yeah? Most of us get that anyway, have had that experience. Well, this is what's called remote access. And there are quite a few applications around, but I'm going to use this one called Teamviewer.com, once again because it's a nice, stable tool to use. So the ways that you might use remote access, working from home. So you want to work from home 2 days a week instead of travelling 40 miles, 50 miles. How can you get into your office? You could use a VPN, a virtual private network. You could use something like Teamviewer remote access. Another thing would be working together online. I do a lot of training, as I mentioned earlier on. I do a lot of training online. So if I've got people that are up in Birmingham, I don't really want to travel up there to do training with them, but one-to-one I can use something like Teamviewer. And online support, well, we just talked about BT. Very often people ring up and say, I've got this problem with my PC and I can't, so I can then use Teamviewer to go online. So those are the main applications: remote support, meetings and presentations. I have done a few sales presentations over Teamviewer, but I think for that sort of thing I prefer to be in front of the customer. And then remote access, remote office. So some of the other key ones: go to my PC. Anybody use that one? No? Another one called PC Now, which is a WebEx tool. Anybody use that one? No. Log me in. There are about half a dozen or so that will do this type of activity. But we're going to use Teamviewer. So what do you need? Well, you need the program, or you need to go to the website, and you need to create an account and log in, and you can use a laptop, PC, Macintosh. Even my dear iPhone has Teamviewer on it now. I can't imagine trying to work on my desktop at home from my iPhone, but it might work, I suppose. So let's... what I'm going to do is I'm first of all going to show you how I would work with somebody who's just rung me up and said they've got a problem. So I'm hoping that Sarah's still in the lobby. Let's just give her a quick ring. Hello? She's gone. Ah, there she is. We've got a bit more volume. Got a bit more volume?
Hi, David.
Oh, hello, Sarah. Right, can you go to www.teamviewer.com? And when you get there, you'll see on the left-hand side, it says Start Full Version or Join a Session.
Yeah.
If you can click on Join a Session.
Okay.
And it will say Run straight away. And then it will say Run again. And eventually you'll come up with a little box which says, tell your partner this ID. Can you tell me that ID?
Yeah, it's 660.
Yeah.
706.
Yeah.
249.
Right, and you should have a password as well.
Yeah, 9812.
9812. And now we're looking at Sarah's desktop outside. Can you minimise your Skype window, please? Thank you. And can you minimise that window as well? And that one. And can you go open up Internet Explorer? And go to the Business Link site. Do you know what that is?
Yeah.
This is a test.
I hope I know what it is.
Well, that's right. Let's hope it's in your favourites.
It's not on there.
Right. But you can see, I can see everything that she's doing on the desktop, yeah? And it's as clear, as it is on my desktop.
How much does it cost?
This is free, if you use it for non-commercial uses. Right, so there we are. There she's going to Business Link. That's it. Can you make it full size? Make it full screen?
Yeah, there you go.
That's it. Now the other beautiful thing about this is I can actually take over the control of it. So now she'll see my cursor whizzing around on her desktop, and I can actually operate the her machine as if I was there. I don't know what that is. What's that?
They're making the coffee, I think.
Oh, right, okay. Fine. Okay, so I can actually now work with her on that machine and operate it just as if I was there. So once again, you know, when somebody says, oh, could you come and see me, and they're in Swindon, all I'm going to do is sit there alongside and look at their screen. So why don't I do it from Southampton? All right, save myself an hour and a half, and God knows how much petrol. It's a much better way of working.
But you have to have Teamviewer installed as well.
No, it's only a little tiny sort of application that downloads. So all she did was went to Teamviewer website, ran the little session there, and then it connects us up. Now, if I was to disconnect now, so I'm going to disconnect. I'm going to disconnect from you, Sarah.
Okay.
All right. Actually, as long as she doesn't do anything her end, I can connect back up again. All right, so I can actually go back in again with the same password. Now, normally what would happen, that's going to do it. Normally what would happen is, you know, you would close the computer down, etc., and then the password would change. So you are protected, yeah? So, and it will work with anybody. So, for example, thank you, Sarah.
That's okay.
If I go, let me just get rid of Sarah for a minute. If I put this number in, here's one I prepared earlier. Right, this is my desktop at home. So I'm now looking at my desktop. Now I've actually got 2 monitors at home. I use 2. Big revelation. 2 monitors is great. And what it says is, you know, you've got multiple monitors. Which ones do you want to look at? So I'm going to look at my main monitor first. But actually up here, I can change and say, well, I'd like to look at the other one. So I'm now looking at the second monitor. And now I'm looking at, what does it say there? Oh, Future Office Workshop. Right, okay. We know about that. So once again, this can be very useful because I can be out on the road if I've got a laptop with a USB modem, or I can do it on the iPhone, or I can do it on your machines. All I do is go in, pull up Teamviewer, run the little applet, and then log into my machine. That's password protected, so you can't get into it because you won't know the password. But and I find that works really, really well. So that's what we mean by remote access. You could be anywhere in the world, and you could get back in onto your machine.
You have Teamviewer running on your desktop at home?
Yes, it needs to be. It will start up straight away automatically. Yeah. So you need to have it running there. I do the same with PC Now. PC Now is another one that I have used. Does the same thing. It runs on your machine all the time. So, Eric and James, if you'd like to go to Teamviewer and either go to the web page, or if you've already got it there, have you got an idea or anything?
No, not yet.
Okay, if you'd like to go and download, go to the start full version this time instead of the join a session. So it's teamviewer.com, and then you've got 2 buttons on the left, start full version and join a session. If you use this commercially, the most basic license is like $4.99 for life. It's about £400, £490 for life. So, and that gives you access to whoever else you want to connect to. If you want to use the full commercial, which gives you 3 channels, so that you can have 3 lines running if you like, it's about £1,500 for life.
Who are they? Where are they?
They're in Netherlands, I think. I don't know who they are, but that's where they are. Once again, I've been using them for 18 months, 2 years, and never had a problem. Very, very easy to contact them and get support if you need it. It's never really failed with me, this one, connecting up, even when I've been away. The only problem I did have one day is that we had a power cut at home, which took the computer out, which was a bit of a pain. But
David, for the purpose, are we just running or installing?
yes, you can install.
Just install.
Yeah. What about you, Eric? Have you got anything?
Start with run.
Yeah, okay, run's fine. So I actually have Teamviewer on this particular machine. So,
Really cheat actually, going to run.
but you could just as easily just run it locally. Teamviewer 5, we're up to version 5 now. Right, shout when you've got an ID.
Thinking
That's
about
for
it.
Germany, by the way.
Oh, Germany, is it?
Yeah.
All right, sorry, I thought it was no.
60 million
Okay, I have
worldwide
an ID.
users.
60 million, wow. Right, James?
Yeah, got an ID for you.
Okay, yeah.
Um,
Well, I'll tell you what, we'll do it the other way round.
Yeah.
Have you got a little box there asking for an ID or not?
Yep, great session.
So if you put this number in then, 451, yeah, 296,
Yeah.
895,
Yep.
and the password's 1188.
And I've got choice of remote support, presentation, file transfer.
Yeah, let's do a presentation. So what's happening now is we're connecting up, but James is going to give me a presentation from his machine, but he has control of my machine.
And password, sorry.
1188. We are. Now I'm looking at James's desktop. So if you minimise that, it could be a PowerPoint, it could be some notes, handouts, could be anything, couldn't it, really? There we are. He's got one, look. Never miss the opportunity, eh? So that works perfectly, for this. The only thing I would say to you, don't come out of this now and go back into remote support, because you get like a mirror inside a mirror inside a mirror. You need to break the connection completely and then go back in again. Yeah. But you can see, if we were talking through Skype or on the phone, I very often use this with a phone if they haven't got Skype. But it's two separate things, really. Yeah.
Does closing down Teamviewer break the connection?
Yes, if you close it down from the participant, I'm the participant at the moment. James is the initiator, if you like. If I close it down, it breaks a connection. Yeah. Okay. Do you want to close that one down then?
Yeah.
Let's try it. Eric, have you got yours up?
I'm sitting on the Teamviewer application, new installation, so it's got wait for session or create session.
Right. So let's
ID.
create a session. I'll give you the ID again.
Yeah.
So it's 451
It's just going there. 451
296
296
895.
895.
And if you leave it on remote support,
Yep.
and the password is 1188.
Right. 1188.
88.
Logging on.
That's it. You see my desktop yet?
Yes, I can.
Okay. So if you have the initiator and you have the recipient, if you like. At the moment, once again, I'm asking for the support, if you like, and Eric is now looking at my desktop. So would you like to? Don't close it down because I've got everything bookmarked. But just minimise the browser.
Minimise your browser. for
Yeah.
you. Okay. Well, I can do it from here, and it's showing on the screen as well, isn't it?
That's it. Yeah.
Let's minimise yours.
Done it.
Yeah, I've done. I've minimised.
Yeah. Okay.
mine and yours.
Right. Okay. Let's break the connection then. So you'll have to break the connection your end. In fact, I can do it down here.
You too.
You should find your password and everything's dropped back up again, yeah? So, very, very straightforward, very easy to use. You can do it in seconds. Normally it takes about 60 seconds to set it up. So you go to teamviewer.com, either join session or start full version, and then you can connect up straight away. It's only for this license, only one-to-one. If you buy the license, you do one-to-many.
Could I just ask, just
Yes.
to clarify, this is to make it idiot-proof.
Yes,
I'm
yes.
the idiot, okay. So, if I wanted to look at my PC at home and go in and find a file,
Yes.
I would set it up before I left home,
Yes.
so it was looking at TeamViewer and I'd have an ID.
Yes.
And then when I was out, I'd go into someone else's PC or a different PC, and then I'd go in as an instigator or participant.
No, you go in as the recipient. So you put the ID of your machine at home
Yes,
and the password which you've already set up,
yes.
and then it will connect up and you can then...
And then I can go
Work.
into that. Okay.
And well, I didn't show you the controls, but you can act there as a control there which says send file, and I can say, well, I want that file, and it will send it through to my computer where I am here.
Right, okay.
Okay.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Can I just check as well?
Yes, yes.
The cost of this,
Yes.
going back, you have to have paid the subscription to use this?
If you're using it commercially, so if I'm training people, then I have to pay a license. If you're using it for yourself, your own ends, then it's free.
How do they know the difference?
Read the notes on the website. They're very keen for people to use it, obviously. How many did you say? 60 million?
60 million.
Yeah. There are some information here about buying the license. But they say for personal use it's free. So if you were using it to get onto your machine at home, that's free.
Right.
If you were trying to converse with people around the world or do presentations, then that's commercial, you'd have to pay for it.
Is
Okay.
the free version a light version? Does it have
No, it's
fewer
exactly
facilities?
the same thing. Exactly the same thing. What will happen is if you start using it commercially, when I first used it, I was using it quite regularly. It keeps popping up and saying, you're obviously using this commercially, pay the license. So, they're not silly.
So what did you get charged?
£490 for life.
Right. Well, what's the 1,500 for?
That's for a commercial license which has 3 channels, and you can have any number of people, conversing if you like.
And that's per what?
£1,500 for life. Yeah.
Right.
Okay.
What about firewalls?
It goes straight through firewalls.
What about security?
I'm told, I have asked them about this because I'm actually working with Wiltshire County Council at the moment, and they are paranoid about security, and it works perfectly on this system. The security section did pick it up and blocked it, but apparently it's, I don't know how they do it, but it works perfectly okay with firewalls and with secure systems.
So, the semantics, Norton or whatever, I'm just thinking that with Norton and stuff, sometimes when you get these sort of transactions across the internet, it will come up and ask you to accept them.
Yes, I must admit, I've been using it for 18 months. I've not had that with Norton, I must admit. So it does seem to get around that somehow. I don't know how. I've got that technical, I'm afraid, so I can't tell you that. Okay, so let's just think about what we've been doing. We've been talking about or showing how we can talk to each other online, one-to-one, one-to-a-few. We've now been looking at how we can help each other. We can show things online, one-to-one, or if you get the license, one-to-a-few. One of the things that perhaps is missing now is we need to be able to share information and stuff. We've got files and all that sort of stuff that we're working between us. We need to put it somewhere. You could put it on your PC, but that then means I'd have to give you all access to my PC, which perhaps I'm not keen to do. So we're now going to look at a couple of things that run online, and there are lots of versions of this, but we're going to look at LinkedIn. Is anybody on LinkedIn? Okay. LinkedIn, for those who don't know, is like an online network of professionals. You've heard of things like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all those sort of social media tools. LinkedIn is one of the big professional. eAcademy is the other one that comes to mind. LinkedIn is one of the professional tools, if you like. So literally go to linkedin.com, you set yourself up the profile, and then you can find people and work with them, meet them, whatever. Now what we've done today is we've set up, that's all very well meeting people and having discussions and things, but actually we want somewhere where we can put files. And we've set up a thing called Huddle. So this window here, these are my groups. These are groups that I belong to inside LinkedIn. And one of them in particular, which is the Future Office Today, has a workspace where we've uploaded some files. So if providing you were part of our group, our gang, you could get in here to download or view those files. Now, Eric and James are going to go to the LinkedIn page, so you should see that on your screen. I'll pull it up here. So when you go into LinkedIn, normally you'll find you've got a home page. I'll just get this one up. Oh. And there'll be a brief intermission. All right, okay. Oh, didn't like that one. Right. So when you normally go into LinkedIn, do we know how many people are in LinkedIn? Do we know? Quite a lot.
Sorry, I'm just in my own LinkedIn account.
Oh, right, okay. What you'll find is this is an inbox, and there are various people that have sent me messages, either inviting me to a group or sending me information. This is the free version, by the way, so you get lots of adverts. If you want to pay, you can lose the adverts. I'm prepared to put up with the adverts all the time. You also have a profile, and this is very useful where you can put up what you do, what you have to offer. Now, if you think about all the ways that we're talking about working today, this makes sense, doesn't it? Because I could pick up a marketing person in the States who wants some training and deliver it. It's not the world isn't an issue, really, is it? So, there's some information about me. My contacts, you get suggestions every now and again saying, do you know this person? Would you like to connect to them? But what we're talking about here now is the group, the future group, future office group. Come on, wake up. That's not because we've got a slow connection. This is because this has got a complicated page here. There we are. It's going all my contacts. Right. So if we go down the side, right-hand side of the page, just down the bottom, you should have this, lads. Yeah. You should have. Groups, workspace. Down the bottom right-hand side. You got that? Yeah. Yes. So if we go into that. And you can have as many workspaces as you like. So, you can have one for your management team, you can have one for your clients, you can organise it as you like. It takes a little bit of time just to load the page up. Right, so this now, activity, files, discussions. And you find all these social type of sites do the same sort of thing. They don't always have areas where you can put your files, but they very often have discussions. Okay? So you can see here, although the type's not very clear, there are various messages here that have come through. What I like about this sort of tool is that you can actually load a file up and then say, right, tell everybody in the group the file's up there. Rather than emailing it around to everyone. It means that everybody is using the same file. So if we then go to the tab which says Files, we can see here there's Search Engine Optimization Basics, and what we can do is we can either view the file online, edit online, download the file, or download and lock the file for editing. So in other words, if I was working with you all, I could download this file, and if you try to download it, it'll say you can't have it. David's editing it at the moment, which is very useful actually when you're working in a group. So if I just view it online, just to quickly show you, what this will do now is open up another window, and you'll see the document that we're talking about. And Eric and James, you want to open one up as well? So you'll see at the top it says, this file is read-only and changes will not be saved. I'm just literally viewing it. I'm not actually working on it. So you can imagine in an environment where either you're working with your clients or you're working with a team that are all over not just the country now, I'm working with a team that are all over the world. So one's in France, one's in America, one's in London. We can be working worldwide now. The problem I find for most people, this is a big jump from where we are. We're used to being in front of people, aren't we? Yeah. But all of this technology is actually quite old, really, in terms of technology. It's been there for some time. Yeah. So sharing files online is not that new, really. It's just what people like LinkedIn and other organisations like that have just made it much more sort of easier for us to use. In fact, if I go back to this one for a minute, there are lots of alternatives. Google Desktop. Google has a very good online thing. HyperOffice, WebEx, which I believe BusinessLink use. Yeah. SharePoint. A lot of you might know about SharePoint, which is a Microsoft product. We talk about the cloud. Have you ever heard about the cloud? This is where everything is kept up in the ether somewhere. And then Mobile Me. Once again, iPhone has a thing called Mobile Me, where you can save your files up and then you can pull them down wherever you are. So the idea is you could be anywhere in the world. If you want something and you've put it up in the office, the virtual office, if you want to use that term, you can download it again and work on it. I was in the Channel Islands last year on my holiday, sailed down from Portsmouth, and woke up one morning, lovely sunshine, got up, opened up the laptop, picked up the wireless, and I went onto Twitter and said, I've just realised my life's ambition, sitting in the sunshine, on a boat, working. And my friend said, why are you working? I said, I actually enjoy what I do, you know, I don't have to switch off. I enjoy what I do, so therefore, you know, the fact I'm working isn't a pain to me. In fact, I'd love to be working there all the time, really. So, Huddle. You can actually set up your own Huddle without having LinkedIn if you want to. You can set them up, huddle.net. But I think you agree, you know, it's a little bit away from where we are now, but it's not that hard to do. So we've actually got talking to each other online. We could be actually helping each other, and I could actually train you to use this online, if you wanted to. Any questions? Wow. They're all thinking about lunch. Any concerns then? Or any thoughts? Tell me your thoughts, because thoughts are interesting, aren't they?
Do we have a security issue?
No, because you restrict the Huddle group to the people that you want to use it. As far as I know, nobody can break into it, not that I found anyway. So normally what would happen is if you set it up, you say, right, you and you can come in, and that will be it. I'm sure some clever hacker will get into it somehow. But I think, once again, I had this issue with Wiltshire. We were talking about the security for dangerous documents, if you like. If you're that worried about it, you shouldn't be putting it up on the web. You should actually be keeping it in paper in a drawer locked away. That's the best advice. I was asked many years ago when I was training solicitors, what's the most secure form of internet? I said, put the computer over in the corner, unplug it from the internet, and that's the most secure you can be. He said, well, that's no good because you can't get on the internet. I said, well, you know, what do you want, security or the internet? You can't have both.
And it's not fireproof.
Yeah, it's not fireproof, absolutely, yeah. Any other thoughts?
Well, I've worked for myself for 30 years.
Yes, yes.
So I'm a bit out of touch with various things. But
Yeah.
in terms of large corporates, how do they use this a lot?
No.
In terms of sharing files across the world or what?
No, corporates would tend to give you access, if you were working with them, give you access to their network through a virtual private network.
I mean, internally themselves with their various locations?
No, they would tend to use a server. The traditional way of sharing information with a workforce that are working all over the place is to have a central point which is backed up somewhere else, and then you can either connect to it on the network if you're in the building or in the buildings, or you can use what's called a virtual private network into the server. What's tending to happen now is you're starting to have servers in different places and people are starting to work sort of this way. Okay? Any other questions?
You've mentioned iPhone being capable of doing some of this. Is
Yes.
there a scaled down version for that product, or is you get exactly the same?
You get exactly the same. You get exactly the same. I think it will be difficult on an iPhone because of the. I mean, you can expand it up, but I'm thinking at the back of my mind, iPad is coming soon, which is going to be the size of the screen. Now, if that works the same way, then that will be very useful.
Right.
I'm sure it will work the same way. So I think on the iPhone it would be hard work, but it's coming.
If anybody wants to experiment using Huddle, by all means just connect through LinkedIn to me and I'll send you an invitation to the group and then we can have a play and have a go in real time.
The best thing is to do that, is to get online and do it and play with it, because that way you'll see what the limitations are, you'll see what it feels like. I mean, a few years ago when I started introducing to the counsellors, the first thing they said, oh no, I couldn't use Skype. Now they wouldn't be without it. Just it's so easy, to use. But once they got used to it and had the feel for it, you do have to learn a certain etiquette so you don't talk at the same time. But the same thing will happen about everything we do, in the future. So I think one of the big things that we need to do as businesses is to get involved, to get our hands dirty in this stuff, because then we will make it work our way. I was talking the other night about social media. One of the problems about things like Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that is we're not in it. Once businesses start getting involved in some of those things, it will start to make sense. At the moment, we're all looking from the outside in and don't really understand how we can make it work. But that's another story. I think we're almost there.
Thank you very much, David.
Thank you. There are quite a few applications around, but I'm going to use this one called Teamviewer.com. Once again, because it's a nice, stable tool to use. So the ways that you might use remote access, working from home. So you want to work from home 2 days a week instead of travelling 40 miles, 50 miles. How can you get into your office? You could use a VPN, a virtual private network. You could use something like Teamviewer Remote Access. Another thing, be working together online. I do a lot of training, as I mentioned earlier on. I do a lot of training online. So if I've got people that are up in Birmingham, I don't really want to travel up there to do training with them, but one-to-one I can use something like Teamviewer. And online support, well, we just talked about BT. Very often people ring up and say, I've got this problem.
Some hotels in America, and they have their free phone numbers.
Good morning. Welcome to the sessions workshop on all about remote accessing your PC. Now, facilitator is David Vane. Thank you very much.
Have you ever been anywhere and suddenly realised you've left a file back in the office?
Yeah.
Or have you ever wanted to talk to somebody about something, but you're trying to explain quite a complicated concept and they haven't got a clue what you're talking about? Usually it's my wife about my diary. So we're going to look at some tools for remote access. And you know nowadays if you ring up BT or whatever and say, I've got this problem, they say, oh, go to this website, put in this code, and they come in and take over your computer, don't they? Yeah? Most of us get that anyway, have had that experience. Well, this is what's called remote access. And on the left-hand side, it says start full version or join a session.
Yeah.
If you can click on join a session,
Okay.
and it will say run straight away, and then it will say run again, and eventually you'll come up with a little box which says tell your partner this ID. Can you tell me that ID?
Yeah, it's 660.
Yeah.
706.
Yeah.
249.
Right, and you should have a password as well.
Yeah, 9812.
9812. And now we're looking at Sarah's desktop outside. Can you minimise your Skype PC so I can then use Teamviewer to go online? So those are the main applications: remote support, meetings and presentations. I have done a few sales presentations over Teamviewer, but I think for that sort of thing I prefer to be in front of the customer. And then remote access, remote office. So some of the other key ones, go to my PC. Anybody use that one? No? Another one called PC Now, which is a WebEx tool. Anybody use that one? No. Log me in. There are about half a dozen or so that will do this type of activity. But we're going to use Teamviewer. So what do you need? Well, you need the program, or you need to go to the website, and you need to create an account and log in, and you can use a laptop, PC, Macintosh. Even my dear iPhone has Teamviewer on it now. I can't imagine trying to work on my desktop at home from my iPhone, but it might work, I suppose. So let's... what I'm going to do is I'm first of all going to show you how I would work with somebody who's just rung me up and said they've got a problem. So I'm hoping that Sarah's still in the lobby. Let's just give her a quick ring. Hello? She's gone. Ah, there she is. We've got a bit more volume. Got a bit more volume?
Hi, David.
Oh, hello, Sarah. Right, can you go to www.teamviewer.com, and when you get there, you'll see